Ah, my good and dear friends. This is Londo Molare, and I'm watching the Bad News Bards on Tennessee Tabletop Tavern.
Well, I'd say hello, Cam, but as you can see, Cam is absent. Our interplanar man of mystery and my regular co-host on our regular show has made a prior commitment. He's gone gaming, so I've got a couple of guys that I'm going to bring on with me here, and it's funny because I've got a D and a D, so that's going to be kind of interesting. I've got Dean and I've got Dan. How you guys doing?
Am I the first D or second D?
Yes, I'm doing fine. It's great to be here. Thanks very much for giving us the opportunity, Jeff, and it's been great to meet Dan as well. Over to you, Dan.
Thanks, Jeff. Cool to happy to be here and talk with you tonight and your special guests. And yeah, am I first D or second D?
You guys can fight it out yourselves, man. You could roll for it, I do have Steve in the background, so I know he's been slammed with stuff. So I had to make a phone call to Chuck to make sure things were still going. Any rate, let's not wait around and bring him on board without any further ado. Steven Chenault.
How's it going, gentlemen?
What is happening?
Well, my what is it? Attention to time is about where it normally is.
Yeah.
I have no real concept of time, so I literally had just finished my steak, which was fantastic. My niece cooked it for me, and then Chuck said, "Hey, you're supposed to be streaming." I was like, "Shit!"
Well, we're still waiting to see if Luke can make it, but you've got this thing going on, and I've got a little thing going in the chat. Should be pumping in there, but I would be remiss if in Cam's absence I did not ask his standard routine question. So he likes to ask all of our guests. He wants to hear your backstory. He loves hearing how people first got into playing Dungeons and Dragons, tabletop games, etc. So you're on the big screen.
All right. So it's probably, so the year gets a little fuzzy, but we think it was 1975. I remember that I was with my mom, and my dad was in his service, and he was an officer. So we had a lot of troops, and one of his troops was hardship deployment to Korea, and he had these little bitty brown books that he had to get. When you go on hardship tour, you can't have anything, right? So he had these little bitty brown books and he knew that Davis and I did a lot of wargaming, that his commanding officers' sons did a lot of wargaming. So he called her, my mom, and we went down to pick him up. And I remember I don't remember what was said, but I do remember getting the books. There was no box, that was gone, but there was a little stack of brown books, 5 or 6, 7, whatever was in that bundle back in those days, and some dice. And now I didn't know this, but my mom told me later that the soldier that was deploying told her to be careful with this because it's very addictive, which is kind of ironic that, that, you know, we ended up where we were. So Davis gets the books for Christmas or his birthday. Honestly, I can't remember. That was him that just walked by. I'm actually up at Davis's house at the moment.
Right. Yeah, I saw that earlier.
Yeah. So Davis gets these books, and I asked him, I said, so what did we do? Because Davis had most of the war games, right? He had a paper route or some kind of shit and actually had money. So he would buy just about any kind of game that he could find. And he told me later, he said, well, I got the books for Christmas or the birthday or whatever, and I didn't know what to do with them. I read through them and I had no idea what this was. So he put them in the closet. And then like 6 months later or 4 months later or whatever he read in whatever magazine, or he had an epiphany or whatever, he pulled them back out, started looking them over again, and then he figured it out. We're live streaming if you want to.
He's more than welcome to jump on.
Come on, pull a chair up. You got the. So we are on Death Angel Shadows live stream here. And Dan and Dean have joined us. You can't see them. They're somewhere. We're on the big screen. So this is Davis. This is my brother. So Davis gets, and correct me wherever I'm wrong on this. So he pulls them out 4 or 6 months later, and I didn't know what was going on. He made when we got started.
Oh,
yeah.
Right.
And so Davis is doing lots of war games. I would war game with Davis, but he would read the rules and tell me how to play and all that shit. So I remember the first games. I don't know if this was the first game, but he had made me like 6 characters or 7 characters, and he said, "Okay, you got to name these guys." So I named Tarzan and all of the apes from Tarzan's tribe. So those are my first characters. They all died, but so we started playing D&D, and that begins. So that's 1975, 1976, somewhere around in that thing, and we were immediately hooked to the game. I remember. I never bought anything. Davis bought stuff. I remember when we were at Sears, when you got the Monster Manual. I remember that.
That's when we got
77 or something?
Lord of the Rings board game too.
Oh, yeah. So Davis has got somewhere around here, the original Lord of the Rings board game came with solid board, not paperboard. And he's got one somewhere in here. That's probably the best board game
I think
of
it's
all
in the
time.
closet right.
But that started us. So we started playing D&D. He gets the Monster Manual later. He got the Player's Handbook. The DM's got all of that stuff. And by 78, 79, we're gaming probably twice a week, something like that. Yeah. We didn't spend like a million hours doing it, but we would game for a couple of hours, go do whatever we were doing. Because we were still doing a lot of wargaming. And those Vikings was a good game.
Yeah.
That was cool. And that started us. That's our origin story. After that, we gamed together till like 1980, and then you got your group and I got my group in Germany.
Yeah.
And then game. He goes off to college, and then we both go off to the Army and all that crap. And somewhere around 91, it's right after the Gulf War, so 93, I guess.
It would have been 93 or 4.
93 or 4. We ended up back in Arkansas, and my old group from college, Todd Gray and Matt Golden and everybody got together, started gaming. Davis joined us when he could. He was an archaeologist in those days, so he was out west digging in the dirt. But when he was around, he would join, and then we just started really gaming like crazy. Mac Golden comes up with the concept of making a company, Troller Games, which eventually becomes Troller Games. And Mac and I had a meeting in Vino's Pizza talking about it. This is in 99, I think.
No, you had a company before then, Seeker.
So he did the Seeker. So Mac did the Seeker. I sent a lot of submissions into TSR because there was no Wizard of the Coast in those days. And they got rejected, Mortality of Green and a couple other things that we eventually published. But Mac was doing the Seeker. Yeah, he had that little zine or zine or whatever you call it. And we were distributing the Seeker. And then Mac's like, let's start a company. He was part of the OGL stuff, the original creation of the OGL. Right. So Mac and I sat down at Vino's, and we began discussing it. And then like 2 days later, we were going to meet again. He was in law school, I think.
Yeah.
And then Davis was passing through town, and he joined the meeting. So the three of us formed Troll Lord Games.
But here's the funny part. Here's the funny part of that whole thing, though. It's like I thought I had come up with this genius idea because Kent showed me like his book, like
that giant,
notes.
yeah.
The giant book of notes from his game, right, or from his like whatever. And I said, you should start a company with that. And I thought, well, that's a genius idea. When I showed up like next time in town, and he's like, come up with this company. He had already come up with the idea.
In fairness, it was Mac's idea.
Mac's idea.
Mac was the one that drove that. And then we started putting stuff together.
Conniving little
I think the funniest thing, I don't know if you can find them on the podcast. There was a podcast called Crusader Podcast. And the guy doing it, Tyler Morrison, there's a couple other guys doing it too, but they interviewed me and Davis and Mac separately. And if you can find these on the podcast.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And they all asked the origin stories of Troller Games, not us specifically, but the Troller Games in general.
Company, yeah.
Yeah, the company, and all three of us gave different stories about it. It's so funny because Mac's like, "You guys are idiots. That's not how it happened at all."
So there's no actual
Who knows?
truth to the story.
Who knows
It's
what
just like
happened?
God knows what really happened. So.
But that's the origin story. Davis and I've been wargaming since the early '70s, and D&D since '75. So it's been a
You've
hot.
been at it.
Yeah, it's been a lot. I still have now years ago because Davis doesn't take care of a lot of his stuff, as you can see. And this up here is very new, where him putting things in frames. But I started taking his stuff years ago, so I still have
That, yeah, and like just to explain, the reason this shit's on shelves and not just in piles out in the garage or in the backyard is because he got mad.
I couldn't take it
He
anymore.
couldn't take it, and he came up here, bought all these shelves for me, and he put them on the shelves.
Yeah, so I Davis actually, what's weird about Davis's stuff, so all the shit I bought back in the 70s is almost worthless. I don't know why, but stuff he bought is actually
Some of it's valuable.
It's rare. Some of it's really rare.
Oh, yeah.
He bought so much. The We Warrior stuff, he bought that when it came out in 77 or 76 because it was all new. And in those days, it's that dream that we all have. In those days, the shops, most of the game shops were like little mom and pop tucked in the back corner of something, that would have this, that, and the other. So this stuff was gems in those days. And a lot of it's rare and it's in boxes around here. So I actually still have the original brown books and chainmail that was in that stack of books. I don't know. I'm not a big scholar of D&D. I don't know a lot of it, but the box set, I think, only had 4 books in it. I can't remember.
I think it was 4 books. Yeah.
But the stack that GI gave my mom to give to him was at least 6, I think. It was
He had
the Greyhawk supplement.
He had a couple of the supplements.
Yeah. And chainmail. I know chainmail was in
wasn't
there.
there.
Yeah, I know chainmail was in there. So that's the origin story. We've been doing this since 1975, which is crazy.
That's I was 2.
That's funny. Yeah, it's just nuts. What that guy said, and it's funny that my mom told me that he said, you got to be very careful. This game can be very addictive. I would like to find him and say, dude, you were spot on, man. This is great.
Let's see if I can make you big. Yeah.
Oh, not good.
Well, we
not
got
good.
2 in one window. So hey, we don't know if Luke is going to make it, but we've got Davis here, so we've got the.
There you go. So the cool thing about I haven't heard back from Luke. So obviously Castle Zagyg is the big thing going on right now. We've got a backer kit campaign going on to bring Castle Zagyg, and just a real quick, brief overview of what Castle Zagyg is for those people who may not know. Gary Gygax started creating the dungeons, the Greyhawk dungeons, back in the 1970s, and this is a campaign he ran for like 15 years or so, and it's it's dozens of levels. I think it's 27 levels all told of just dungeoning stuff and all kinds of crazy Gary Gygax things, and it's very it's a good time capsule of the 1970s, of the way people gamed and the way we looked at stuff back then. So there's tons of that stuff in here, but it was never published. There was a couple of things called Castle Greyhawk that they put out, but they really weren't. What are you doing?
I was going to say.
What's going on?
He's trying to bring it up.
He was moving stuff.
So Jeremy's been sending me over snippets of finished things. And some of it's really cool. You can see Gary in it everywhere. I was wondering if we could read one of the snippets.
Yeah, that's a great idea. So he does this, never publishes it. TSR put a few things out, but they really weren't It really wasn't Gary's stuff, right? So in the year 2000, we signed with Gary Gygax and become his primary publisher. And in 2003, I think we began working on Castle Zagyg stuff. So the first thing was Yigsburg, and we published that. And then we published Upper Works that Jeff Flanagan got involved in. And the interesting thing about Davis is, so at that point, Matt Golden had left the company and I was running the company. But Davis took over kind of point in working with Gary, Jeff Talanian, and Peter Bradley to bring the early Castle Zagyg together back in the aughts, to bring Gary's notes out. So Davis had a huge amount to do. I can't remember what the circle was of who sent what to wherever.
That entire, I had those emails, and I would change my email address every year. On January 1st, I changed my email address every single year.
There's so many Davis emails.
And they all disappeared. I couldn't get into it. I have no idea. Thousands of emails that are just like in the ether somewhere.
I've got like in my, the address book or whatever in my email, I've got like 17 emails for Davis. And I told him, dude, I'm just picking this one and I'm sending emails to this one. So if you get them, you get them. If you don't, you don't. But yeah, so that's what we're doing right now. We got that backer kit thing going on where we're bringing it. And this is the second part. The total thing is 27 levels. We've got Mike Stewart and Jeremy Farkas, Chase and Nick all working on this thing, putting a lot of hours, and Peter Bradley putting a lot of hours into it to bring Gary's vision. So he laid us down a really good roadmap back in 2003 and 4 and 5. We have a really, really good roadmap of what he called the Bible, I call the manifest, of what's in each level, the tone of each level, what level spread it is, dungeon depths, all kinds of stuff that he just hadn't written the whole thing. So we have this great kind of roadmap for what we're doing, and the guys are putting pen to paper so that I think within the next, definitely this year, we will see this project wrapping up, and we'll see 27 levels of the original. We've had to rename it for legal reasons. It's called Castle Zagyg now. Right. Greyhawk, obviously owned by Wizards of the Coast.
I think roadmap is bad. I think interstate highways.
Yeah, it's pretty complicated. One of the things that Gary really insisted on, and this has been the challenging thing, is he wanted the levels. You don't just go from level 1 to 2 to 3 to 4. He wanted it so you could go from level 2 to level 14, and level 4 to level 4A or 5. Right. Yeah, so it's this kind of huge organic.
With that many levels, it's really complex.
It's very complex. But he gave it, it's in there. I mean, he wrote it down, what levels connect, which is kind of cool. And we'll do a little bit more, of course, because the levels are very large. And we're using his original handwritten campaign notes to draw maps and to put, what goes here, what goes here, what goes there. It's been a while.
Yeah, you guys have been cranking stuff out. I mean, in my background, I've got the Adventurers backpack sitting on the shelf along with the, which that was, I love it. It's awesome. I'm planning on taking the backpack with me.
Hey, have I been obliterated?
No, I could still hear you. Your video is frozen.
Something. Do we know what happened? Something's wrong with Davis's computer. Will it get better?
It could be Restream's fault.
You never know. Well, yeah. They've been upgrading Restream, and it's been driving everybody that uses it nuts for a while. But as long as you can still hear us, that's good.
I can definitely hear you, but I hate for the stream to not. We're checking some stuff out here. Well, that's crazy. Why would it suddenly?
I don't know. It's actually never done that before. So
let's do.
But as soon as that kicked on,
it killed it.
Yeah.
Nope, that had nothing to do with anything. I'm turn camera off. Turn camera back on.
Here, wait. Let's do this.
Got nothing. That'll work. I feel it. It didn't work. I tried to will it into working.
So this is what happens when Chuck is playing hooky for the night, right?
That's right.
No, this is what happens when I get near a computer.
To destroy electronic stuff. Oh, wait. Stop. Something weird's going on here.
That's interesting.
Maybe. something.
It says HP presence, no camera, and it's backwards.
That doesn't feel like it's a good sign. I'm just saying.
God damn it.
We don't know what's going on.
But you are still here. So.
I am still here.
Yeah, it's crazy. You can still hear us. Everything works except that little bitty.
Yeah.
The
What did you
camera.
do?
Yeah, the camera's the one thing. If you want to pop out and on, that I mean, you could try that, refresh or whatever, and see if that is
Let
in
me-
there.
Might work.
So
I'm
how
gonna-
do I do it? I'm gonna do. Wait a minute. No, that's correct. All right. How do I pop out of this crazy thing?
You can back.
I see leave. All right, I'm gonna hit leave, and then I'll be back in a second.
Okay. So while that's going on, Cooperative Waffles posted in the chat, Gary forced the improvement of many a gamer's reading comprehension. I think that's absolutely true.
100% true.
Yeah.
Yep.
Let me see if there's anything else that I see. Davina is on board. We've got a bunch of folks. And while we're at it, technical issues.
Oh, that one's further down.
Yep.
From Nightmare, yeah.
Look at that. Speaking, yep. You nailed it there. Nailed it. But at any rate, if anybody's got any questions, try and post them in the chat, and I'll try and grab them while we can. We're just waiting for them to pop back in. And let's see here. If you haven't, I've got a QR code right now posted on here for Castle Zagyg Act 2 that should take you right to the Kickstarter or the backer kit. Sorry, bad Jeff backer kit. And it's been pretty cool watching this stuff go on. I've got the little bot in there is also posting a link in the chat for anybody that hasn't jumped on it yet. Yeah, I did. Dan, how about you? Did you go in on it?
Yeah, I went at my standard level, which I like to call the Tropic Thunder tier of backing crowdfunders.
Yeah. Dean?
Not yet. We're
Not yet?
still having a look at it. We backed a number of projects recently, so it's just how far the purse strings can go. But I have had a good read of it, and it looks incredible. The amount of detail that they're providing is just superb. Yeah.
Well, one of the nice things is for those of you that may have missed the first act, if you will, they do have that available. And they are back. Let's see here. Let me re-add them.
So what we had to do, his system's done. We don't know.
Dude, we killed his computer.
It's all shot. So I just switched to my camera. Does that work on your end? Is that okay?
That works. That works fine. I'll just make you. I'll have to embiggen you again so that they can see you. Let me make sure. Oh,
There
look
you
at
go.
that.
That works.
Perfect.
Oh, look at me. I'm on the bottom.
Oh, now I got
to
slide over.
There you go.
You're holding us up.
Yeah.
Oh, that worked. That's all right, Davis. So we just won't have room to have Davis in there. Is that all right?
Yeah, that's okay. He can sit in the background and just make funny faces if he
There you
wants.
He could just do like the peanut gallery comments from off screen. It was great.
Yeah.
The whole rabbit fingers over the head. And
I'm gonna
There
swap
you
me over because I got like 4 screens up here. So
Yeah.
I was while you guys were dealing with the technical issues.
Yeah.
There was I had read this Cooperative Waffles had said Gary forced the improvement of many a gamer's reading comprehension, and that's something that you yourself I picked up your Storyteller's books. They are awesome, and I do refer to them quite a bit if I'm like I need a word for so tell me how you came about with those.
So we had wanted to do, after in the early days, we did OGL content, Dungeons and Dragons content for the most part. Now we created the World of Aird and some other odd and bits and pieces, but we always wanted to kind of push beyond just doing RPG stuff, fiction, magazines. We tried the Crusader for a little while. which we brought back. But one of the projects that I really wanted to do, because as a GM, as a DMCK, whatever, that you need to know so many things, like what a Merlin is, what all of this stuff is when you're describing, castles and carriages, and what does withers mean, all of this stuff. So I had this idea to do a dictionary, and I was just kind of pitching it around to people, just a dictionary of medieval and fantasy terms. Well, I had become good friends with Jim Ward by this point, and he and I were talking about it, and he said that he's always wanted to write this thesaurus. He's got this really cool concept for thesaurus that's thematically based. That's not just a regular thesaurus of words, but it's one that's based around themes. And I said, well, this sounds really, really cool. So he wasn't that interested in the dictionary, but he was very interested in the thesaurus. Right. And he picked the title, Storyteller's Thesaurus, and I thought, well, this is as good as the dictionary, right? I mean, it's another tool, wordsmith's tool, that's, in some respects better than a dictionary, because finding slightly more archaic words often makes your language and your story read a little better, right?
Yeah.
So he did this. He with Anne Brown did this Storyteller's Thesaurus. It's a fantastic book. We rolled that out, and about 2 years later, I pitched to him again the original concept of the dictionary, and he was, yeah, sure, I'll do this. So I wrote it. He wrote it. Davis did. A few other authors got in there. Jason Bay, a few other guys. There's a whole bunch of us that got in and did the dictionary, and both of those books have become for evergreens. Evergreens for us, just pillars of our publishing endeavors. And they sell all the time. We reprint them as soon as they sell out, and we just reprinted both of them. In fact, one about a month ago and one about 4 or 5 months ago. So those things have been fantastic for us.
Yeah, I think they're an excellent tool for any would-be DM, GM, CK. Whatever the phrase is, depending on what system you're running.
Right.
I know Dean, for example, he's working on his own system, so I don't know if he has them, but I highly recommend you pick them up if you don't already have them.
I'm quite intrigued with this actually, because I'm forever searching medieval terms and stuff like this. You got to get back to the root of the kind of theme you want within your game. So I've never heard of these books, but are they available on your website?
Yeah, the store, you can get both PDF and print copies, and they're hardcover books. The latest printings don't have dust jackets, but the guts are all the same. Yeah, absolutely. And they're right what you're talking about. Always looking for that term, that archaic term that helps, just a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. That sounds fascinating. I put them on my list.
Yep. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And that's just trollord.com, and it's 3 L's.
Yeah, 3.
Because Summer of Siege is coming, right? And Grace was talking about that yesterday, I think it was. She was talking about it. Yeah. And
I remember she was talking about it, and I thought, wait, is it close to summer? What's going on here?
Yes, it is. It was 85 today here. Man, and I heard it was even got up to that, like up in New York. I've got an affiliate, a buddy that is like Dean, also fairly regular on our Babylon 5 show that we do on Wednesday nights. And he lives in Manhattan, I think, or something like that. And he was like, yeah, 85 here too. And then I hear the guy who actually runs the stream is in Alberta. And he's like, yeah, I got like so many more centimeters of snow. And I'm like,
he's got the other problem going on.
Yeah. So, and I'm like, so I don't know if there's some sort of big Arctic thing going on up in his area, where it's just punch down and cover him.
Probably. There's always something going on with the weather.
Well, I've got friends and coworkers in Michigan, and I guess they're worried about flooding and dams bursting.
Had like a record snowfall, I think, this year, because two of our employees are up there. Grace is in Michigan.
That's right. Yeah.
Lots of.
So I gotta ask you, because I sent you some stuff. Have you been studying at all?
I feel like this is a trap.
Well, you had mentioned we'd talked at one point in time about ham radio, and I sent you all that stuff.
So the funny thing about the ham radio. So I'm going to say this with the preface that my wife is ridiculously patient with my whatever.
Same.
with my weird stuff that I like, UFOs.
Same.
All of this stuff. She's crazy patient, and so I've got all your stuff, all the cool stickers, all the other ham. Everybody said that's really cool. And I was going through it. It's kind of fallen off my radar for a little bit, but I was reading one of these UFO books, and I thought I need to get a different way. And I've said this on the stream. And I think this is what kind of started it with you. I need to get a different way to communicate with other people that are interested in this hobby, because everyone in my area thinks I'm insane.
My stuff is over here. If I turned my camera, you'd be like, "Oh, wow."
Well, I was mentioning it to Kathy about a month ago. I said, you know what? I think I want to pull the trigger on this ham radio show. I want to get myself a ham radio. And she was knitting, and we were watching, I don't know, Modern Family or Justified. I don't know the hell we were watching, but she goes, no, I don't think you're going to do that. So now I got to sneak a ham radio to the house.
Well, there's this little thing in Huntsville. I actually have a buddy that's over in Arkansas. That is a ham radio YouTuber. There's a lot of ham radio YouTubers, and they can actually do a test online for you and everything.
All right. Well, I can set it up. The nice thing is we live in a split level house, right?
Yeah. And
she hates going down the stairs. She absolutely hates it. So the entire downstairs has become my game room, my office, and all of that bullshit. So she never comes down. So I'm like, I could put a ham radio up, and it would be a year before she found it.
Yeah, but she might notice the antennas. So
might be a problem.
But hey. But no, I just figured I know I sent those to you, and I just was like, it's like I wonder if he has a chance. But you did say Dakota got his pilot's license?
Yes, Dakota got his pilot's license. He is super jazzed about that. We keep joking about the Troll Lord truck. I bought it it's a crew cab long bed, and I bought it in 2008. And she's beginning to feel the miles, right?
Yeah.
I've been looking at trucks, and as we all know, they're ridiculously priced. I mean, it's
I need a new one too.
It's insane. I mean, one of them I priced down at like $62,000, and I'm like, this is a house. Why would I pay this for? This is crazy.
Yeah.
But we found online, kind of, Dakota and I were sitting there eating lunch one day and just started poking around. We found an airplane for $68,000. So we could have a Troll Lord airplane and airdrop to conventions. That sounds
there
like
you go. Yeah. Well, and it's funny is I know a lot of hams that are pilots too. In fact, I know one in particular. I think I sent you a sticker. My buddy Carlos, that we see whenever I go to some of the big ham fests. Ham fests are just basically like a con, but it's for ham radio.
Yeah.
He jumps out of moderately airworthy aircraft with a parachute on his back. He was an Army parachute jumper.
I did jump school in the Army, so I know how to get out of it, but it's been a long time. So
yeah. But I'll be darned, the dude is like, and he's not, I'm not tall. I'm like maybe 5'9" at the most, but he's this little guy, and he's like, I'm like, so what's your maximum weight capacity? He's like, I could probably handle up to 250, and I'm like, really? So because he's a jump instructor, he's not only he's not only the instructor, he actually is at that tier where he can teach instructors.
Oh, nice. So he's done. I'm what they call a 5-jump chump. So because I jumped 5 times in.
That was it. You hit your limit, yeah.
Yeah, I did 5, got my wings, and I was done. So he's done like 60 jumps or whatever. That's awesome.
Yeah, way more than that. He takes a lot of folks. My wife wants to jump. I'm
it's wild.
I'm not sure about that.
Once the chute deploys, it is pure awesome. But up to that point, it's a little nerve-wracking.
Well, he makes contacts on the radio while he's descending.
That's awesome.
It's nuts. I love the guy, man. Though he is awesome, and he's Puerto Rican, and his family has coffee. They grow coffee. You like coffee?
I do not drink. Davis drink. If he were here, he drinks it like there's no tomorrow. I do not drink.
Okay, you drink just Dr. Pepper, right?
Like that and water. That's all I
can. But yeah, it's just so. But anyway, I don't want to derail things, folks. Like I said, I do have the QR code here on the right side of the screen for those who are watching, and the little thing is pumping in there. You guys have scaled back a little bit on some of the cons that you've gone to.
Yeah.
Flint had asked Flint Fireforge, which is one of another YouTuber out there. He's asked if you or your brother are going to the Huntsville Comic-Con. I'm gonna say probably not, but Chuck had told me about it. So
yeah, it was on the docket. I know we just shipped them, or maybe today. I don't know. I know we're shipping them some con support material.
Mm-hmm.
But that was one of the ones I told, because Chuck he had quite a few lined up, and I said we can't, with as much that's going on, until we get the World Builders, Gary Gygax's World Builder archive out, which is 10 books, and we now have a really good handle on the Castle Zagyg stuff. But until those archive books get out and get this first batch of the CZ out, we gotta scale back all the extraneous activities. I need all hands on deck. This is a huge amount of work.
Yeah.
About a month or so ago, maybe I said,
yeah, Gary Con.
I was doing a panel at Gary Con about publishing, and someone had asked about your schedules and whatnot, and I said, really, you should only be doing one big project a quarter, maybe one big project every 2 quarters. And the irony is, and I joked about it at the panel, we're doing 15 Gary's and 2 of our own right now, which is it was a horrible idea. We had to do it. I mean, we didn't have to, but I volunteered Trollord Games to the Gygax estate to move this stuff forward as fast as we could, because there's just all kinds of issues with the estate that need to be settled. So we need to get this material out, and that's why we did it. But oh my God, this is a lot of books, and like you said earlier, we've managed to get the Adventurer's Backpack out.
Yes.
And simultaneously with all this is, we did all of the reforged core books, the Player's Handbook, the Monsters and Treasures, and CKG, and they all sold out within like 8 months. So we had to get, yeah, nice. And so we had to get more out. So we had to reprint all the cores, the Adventurer's Backpack, and now the spell book, in the midst of all of the Gygax stuff. So it has been, the last 18 months have been, I know the troll crew is worn to the bone. About half of them I offered at GaryCon. We had a company meeting, and I offered that soon we're going to do a company retreat, and they all got very excited until I told them we were going to do it in June or July in Roswell, New Mexico, so we could all go to the and the enthusiasm went from like up here to way down here. Apparently it's hot in New Mexico in June, so I'm not sure.
Well, I did live in Vegas back in the mid 90s, and that was the first time in my life I ever saw 125 degrees.
Right, that's hot.
Yeah. So yes, and I have been, but what's funny is Carlsbad Caverns is out there too, and it is awesome to go see. You can't even, if you've never seen Carlsbad Caverns and you go out there, you want to go by. It's not too far away from Roswell. It's kind of in the vicinity. So
I'm gonna use that as a selling point to that.
Yeah. And as an added bonus, it's like a 62 degrees year round down there. So
there you go.
It's nice out there. So I know you've got all these irons in the fire. What is going to be the next to actually fulfill?
Probably realistically, either the World Builders archive.
Mm-hmm.
We've got 9 of those done, and the 10th is mostly done. So it's really just doing our final pass and getting to the printers, or the Adventurer Spellbook. The Adventurer Spellbook we had been working on a little bit to begin with.
Right.
One of those 2 will be the ones that roll out first,
Okay.
and then the first part of Castle Zagyg will be right. Jeremy he's joined the crew, and so is Nick, to help move things along. It's not it wasn't moving as fast as I wanted it to. Mike's doing a great job. Everybody's doing a great job, but it's just a lot of material.
Right.
So, but they've got a good handle on it. And I think they are on to they got level 4, 5, and 5A, and then we're done. And then it's just editing, layout, and whatnot. So I'm confident that by June, those should be done. And the World Builders Archive should be done by June. At the printers, take 5-6 weeks to get them back. So by July, we're rolling it out. And in the midst of that'll be the spell book. So I'm anticipating a ridiculously busy summer.
Right.
Which is good. I'm very anxious, especially I love Castle Zagyg. I love the dungeons and all of that stuff. But those World Builder Archive books, they were originally called the Gygaxian Fantasy Worlds. It's the World Builder, the Canting Crew, the Book of Names, the Living Fantasy, and other books that are just for GMs.
Right.
They are on my shelf. I use them anytime I'm writing or designing, especially that World Builder comes off the shelf. So I'm anxious to get those back out because I think that all of the community is much larger now, and I guess about 5, 6, 7 years ago, world building became a real part of the hobby. It really wasn't in the 80s and 90s. People did it, but it wasn't this kind of mainstream. And now everybody's into world building, which is great. So these books, Gary's book, they need to be on your table while you're running it. So, or building it.
Yeah. Well, I know like Agile Monk. I know you know him. He's working on his Zendria setting. And Dean, you've got a system that you're working on. You got a setting too, I think, don't you?
Yeah. We like most people nowadays. Yes, we're creating our own system, creating our own setting. But we're not here to talk about that. No.
Yeah, I know. But I'm trying to.
I'm more interested in Castle Zagyg. I got to be honest. This sounds so exciting.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. Dean, did you have you or Dan? You guys have some questions you'd like to ask? I know you kind of gave me a list that you were. Dean, if you want to.
Yeah, shall I kick things off? Yeah,
sure. Go ahead.
Yeah. Okay, so back in the day, I've been gaming for a long time. Second Ed was my sort of bread and butter back in the 90s. I ran Undermountain, and I loved Undermountain, Mega Dungeon, but a lot of Undermountain was unpopulated. You had the core bits that had detail, and the rest was left up to you. Yeah. I understand you've taken the same approach with Castle Zagyg, and it's to simulate Gary's realistic approach to dungeon design, where not every room has to have something in it or be active. But you've also, I've seen, put Gary's bric-a-brac system in for filling up rooms that you might want to do on the fly or ahead of time. So I've got kind of 3 questions here. The first one is, how much of the dungeon, if you get Castle Zagyg's Act 1, Act 2, what percentage of the dungeon is pre-filled and what percentage is kind of left blank or for you to be able to fill yourself?
So I would say, and Jeremy would have got to answer that question, but somewhere probably around 80% is filled, and like some of that will be filled with just like we did a live stream of it the other day, and one of the rooms we went into, it's just an empty storage room. So there's really nothing in it. There's shelves and this type of stuff, a little bit of debris, but there wasn't really anything in it. So that room would be a place to kind of roll on tables in the bric-a-brac.
Yeah. Fantastic.
So probably
so roughly about 80% you got detail in, 20% is left to you to be able to do with what you wish. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fantastic. I take it. How is this being? Have you received any negativity about this? Because in Undermountain, I think it was probably almost closer the other way round. I think 20% was filled and 80% was left blank. So how have people received? Yeah, how have people received that?
So it's going to be interesting. We released the first couple of levels. The first levels people can get into, and the second level we just released about 2 weeks ago. And we really not had any negative feedback, which is nice. I know exactly what you're talking. I've run a few games in Undermountain, and it's a great dungeon. It really is. But it does have whole stretches of stuff that I would have to design, and it's cool, but then on the fly it gets more and more increasingly difficult. The conversations we had when we were looking at Gary's stuff, because I established, in order to keep a timeline, and we're kind of going on two different elements. We've got Gary's notes that he wrote back in the 1970s. Now, these notes are ridiculously sparse. I mean, it is like any DM. You guys, I guarantee you, all three of you have done this. There's a room, 12, and that's it. And you just play through it because you're making it up as you go. So there's that.
Yeah, absolutely.
On his original, yeah, you know what I'm talking about. So on his original notes, but ironically, the maps for those notes are extremely detailed. They've got like there's this whole language that he was using, abbreviations. Some of it has taken us forever to kind of translate. Oh, that's a teleport room that goes to level 16 in. So as time progressed, because he worked on this for well over a decade, he changed his notations. So, and then he started using color codes. So it's been quite the puzzle to kind of figure out what he was doing. And then the second thing that we've got his original notes. The second thing is his manifest, where when he and I were talking about it, he was very clear. Okay, this may be the encounters that I had in this place in 1974, but now this level, it has to have gnolls that control 1/3 of the level. They are over here doing this with, so he created this more realistic side to it. And that's where the noises come in, the fungi come in, underground, water sources and all this other stuff start to trickle into the castle. We can just get more detailed and more realistic. So we haven't seen any blowback yet, so that's pretty good. I do remember Undermountain being challenging at times.
Oh, it was.
Yep.
I'm comforted though, because if you look at my notes when I'm running a game, I have code everywhere that I understand. The thing that I detail, maps are so important. You need the detail in the map because that's what you refer to, your players refer to, but then everything else is just coded.
That's funny.
It's good to hear that. Yeah,
you're following in a good footsteps there for sure, because I failed that miserably. In fact, when I do a panel called GM's Tricks of the Trade, and I've got a little book that I wrote, and one of the tricks that I always mention, and it sounds so dumb, but I will say, write your notes legible. And the reason that I say that is because I can't read any of my notes. I'll go back and go, I don't know what this word is. What is this? What are these letters? It's not alphabet or whatever, Arabic letters or whatever. I don't know. So yeah, I applaud your notation.
Brilliant. I've got one final question in all of this. Gary's bric-a-brac system sounds fantastic. Have people play tested that? Have people been using it? And if so, what's the kind of feedback on that?
So we haven't had anyone recently, but we did back in the day. And basically what it does, it gives you, it's 3 directions that you can take in putting this stuff in. And one is you just go through and you pick it, I want this in this room or whatever. Then he's got a rolling system, and then he's got a chance system that goes into it. So, and then it's, I want to say it was about 5 paragraphs of introductory material and then 13 pages of tables. So Gary absolutely loved tables. And though we haven't had anyone play test it recently, we did back in the day, and it worked very well. It worked very easily. And you pick the amount of bric-a-brac you want in there. That was one of the reasons that Gary wanted to go with Castles and Crusades, because he couldn't do Advanced Dungeons and Dragons with Castle Zagyg when we originally signed to do this back in 2003, and he wanted to go with CNC is because one of CNC's pillars is that the game is really the DMs, the CKs running this game, and however they want it to play out, their story, all of that stuff. Obviously, the players and the characters have a role and a part in it, but at the end of the day, the CK is going to make the decisions of what's in that room. Is it got broken bottles or whatever? And that's what these tables really do, is they land it on you so that you can design these sections. You can flesh out these sections in the manner that you want so that you can have the encounters you want. And that's definitely what Gary did for sure.
And there's Chuck in the chat. He just showed up.
So wait. Yeah, I think he has some kind of family thing going on tonight. I'm not sure.
Yeah. I was like, I texted him and he didn't respond, and I'm like, let me call Chuck. And I'm like, I'm sorry, man.
Well, I'm glad you did. I'm very, very glad you did. and the timing was impeccable. I mean, you know, I must have been aware that I was supposed to be doing something because because the timing was impeccable.
There was and Dan, you're gonna go next. There's a couple of comments in the chat from people. Cooperative Waffles, a name that I'm quite familiar with because we see that name all the time. Is talking about something that's near and dear to my heart. You've got just 2 more Arid expansions came out.
Yeah, they should have released today. I think they rolled out today.
All right.
Yes. And I go ahead.
You got 2 more next week. Is that right?
So it'll be 1 more next week, and then I have begun work on the. I got a little bit sidetracked this week because of the campaign and all that mess, but I have begun work on the Umbrian Flats. I've got 4 left to do. I have a target of end of April. I will probably miss that by a week or so. But yeah, and then all 17 will be done and out. I'm super excited about these things.
Okay. Dan, go ahead, and you had some questions too. Go ahead and take the floor.
Yeah. So thanks, Jeff. So mine were really about, Steve, VTT support for Castle Zagyg. Are there any like plans currently to release modules for like Foundry or Fantasy Grounds or any of the VTTs? Because I know I'm not the only one that wishes all my games could be in person, but all my friends have kids and wives and commitments and softball and all that crap. So I've become a very big VTT aficionado over the last 8 years or so. Everything not named Roll20 anyway.
So yeah, anyone who's got their kids in any kind of sports, man, that I applaud you. That's that's a commitment with this amount of, you know, weekends that you're going to be at softball camp or whatever. Yeah, for sure. So the issue with VTT, I absolutely love it, and we've got several that we work with, and it's absolutely fantastic. But we don't have control over the output, right? There's no one on the troll team in the company that can design for VTT and all of that stuff. We have to hire other companies, or we have to hire other, you know, independent contractors to do the VTT, and that generally works. But when we've got something like a crowdfunding campaign, now I am very reluctant to offer a piece of the campaign that I don't have any capacity myself or the crew at Troller to actually deliver, right?
Mm-hmm.
If we hire X to do it and they can't because of, you know, and there's many reasons that contractors can't, you know, finish what they started, and things get delayed, then that becomes a TLG problem. And there's nothing that I can do about it other than hire someone else. So we've kind of moved away from, very reluctantly, I should say, moved away from doing VTTs embedded in these crowdfunding campaigns. That said, Chuck, he pitched an idea earlier this week. We were in a staff meeting, and we were talking about X, Y, and Z. And Chuck, and I don't know if he's in chat, but Chuck's mind is like everywhere simultaneously, and he'll start bringing up other subjects. And he brought this VTT up and his plan, and I kind of half listened to it, and then I shifted us back to wherever we were. So I know that Chuck has got something percolating in his space there, to kind of move around that. So I'm hoping that we can put something together for the VTT. Now, if we can't, we have. I have to look at the license. I'm pretty. Gygax license allows us to. If we can't do something there, then post campaign we'll start looking this stuff converted. The problem is, the big issue is it's going to be about 1,500 pages of content, 27 levels. Yeah. That doesn't include the environs. So to get all of that into VTT, and this is the other part that kind of concerns me, because level 2 is connected to level 5. We kind of have to have it all out, or people who go down this corridor that's, you know, it won't take them to level 5 because we haven't done it. So conceptually, I haven't quite figured out what's the best way to do that. And obviously, we don't want to take, you know, 5 years to put the whole thing together. So I'm not sure the approach is there. But we did definitely a conversation lot. Chuck is a huge, you know, he uses VTT all the time.
Yeah.
He's a huge fan of it, so it's always on. It's always on the docket.
Yeah, and Chuck.
I feel
Chuck
like that was
did,
a positive answer to your request.
No, it's not, and it
makes
was,
sense.
The contractor comment was funny because I'm a consultant, so yeah, it does happen. Or sometimes projects just end, but
they do. And TLG for about 3 years in our early days, we operated as a contract house. We worked for other companies to do Great Monsters for them, to lay books out for them, all kinds of stuff. And it sort of worked, but we began to become a problem for other companies because we would miss deadlines or this would happen or whatever. So I'm very empathetic. Contract. It's tough, and it's not easy. And it becomes this, where do we marry this all up? So did Chuck have something to say in the chat there?
Yeah, he said Luke had called and he had some personal stuff come up that he wasn't able to let us know. So he apologizes and he says he'll see everyone on the next one. So Luke, I'm telling you, we got to get you on. I've talked to his sister and her husband. I've had Heidi on a couple of times, but I've never been able to make the connection with her.
Luke is, you'll get him on. Luke is fantastic. He's got great stories. He's just a hilarious dude. So yeah, you got to get Luke on.
Yeah. So
real quick, Jeff, if you don't mind. So
sure.
One thing I would say, I don't know if you can do this with the licensing, but as like a VTT guy, one thing that would be awesome is if either with the PDF or even if it was like a separate item, if you could like purchase high res like PNGs of just the maps, like that's 90% of the battle. Honestly, because trying to extract them from the PDF and then when you blow them up, they get all pixelated and that sort of thing. So
this is what I remember, and he's in chat, so he can correct us. He said something about player-facing maps.
Yeah, exactly.
And so that's got to be that's probably what he's talking about right there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's exactly. And that's, if you can get that, the rest of it you can, like as a DM or castle keeper on a VTT, you can do yourself. It's fine.
Okay.
The map is what's important.
I'll bet you that's his plan.
Okay.
Because I remember the words player facing and layers. I remember that.
Yeah, well, when you start numbering everything and you show the secret doors and the traps, and that becomes a little problematic when you don't have a map that doesn't have it.
I plan on running Tomb of the Iron God for my buddies soon because I enjoy swords and wizardry, and I have spent an inordinate amount of time with the GM maps, like scribbling out pit traps and like hiding secret doors, and like my wife will walk by and be like, "What the hell are you doing?" It's like, no, don't worry about it. I'm learning how to use GIMP. It's fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Chuck said map packs for both sides of the screen. That would be awesome.
Yeah. Thanks, Chuck. I tried to get him on. I told him he was, but he's got family stuff to. But now he's.
I'm ignoring my family for this.
Yeah. My wife has to leave for work in about a 45 minutes or so. So she's still asleep right now. I don't think she's up yet. She does game though. Does your wife game at all, or?
She gamed with me and the kids once, and she just, so Kathy's very, very sarcastic. So she just proceeded to make fun of everybody for the next 2 hours. It was hysterical, but she never came back to the table.
Well,
so fun.
So there was an announcement that went out today, and yes, Grace, see, some of us do read it. Barashnor.
Yes.
All right. So she was given the background. Now I had heard of it before. I actually had Bill Sylvie on my regular show a couple of weeks ago. So tell us more, because I really would like to see that work come to fruition.
So Barashnor, and I'm not going to be able to say why, but this was very dear to Gary. I'm not certain what about it, because I remember. So at this point in the design process, back when he was still alive, this is where if Davis were here, it'd be a little bit more helpful. But Davis was he was kind of helping manage the Gary stuff, and I was running the company. So I didn't have much to do with the conversations about what was going to in and going out. But Barashnor lands on my desk early on, and I've got, and I have them want to say it's about 8 pages of notes of Gary's and about 7 or 8 maps as well that he had hand drawn. And Bill Sylvie was, I believe, was already working on the Yigsburg expansion books with Gary and Jeff Tully. So he got, and Gary really liked him, and he liked working with Bill. So he, Bill volunteered to do Barashnor, and he wrote it. So it's actually finished. And this is, so in Castle Zagyg, there are portals that take you out of the castle and to either realms, dimension, or whatever. And Barashnor is one of these. I want to say it's towards the lower levels. It's kind of deeper down, but it takes you into this. You go to this bone gate, and then you pass into this world. And the first thing you do is you're in a dungeon, and you go through this dungeon, and then it's this kind of like I want to say fairy-esque setting, fae and druids and all this other stuff. So it's just a cool adventure that he was very passionate about. It's kind of ancillary to Castle Zagyg, and that's where Gary's mind was. Everything that he created, he wanted it attached in some way to the castle of the Arch, the Mad Mage, right?
Right.
Yeah. So even ironically, we've got the license to do Barsoom, the John Carter material from the Burroughs folks, and there in Castle Zagyg, there's a portal that takes you to Barsoom. There's an encounter with Gollum. He had all kinds of pop culture stuff in here. Obviously, a lot of that we can't do. There's a whole lot of licensing issues with that we're not going to go down into. Yeah, but his idea was, and this kind of gives you a nice bird's eye view of the 1970s gaming style. Today things are more you play in this world setting, and this is the way you play, and this is the way this world setting is. It's a little bit more typecast. Is that the right word for the settings now? But back in the day, back in the 1970s, it was a little different. There wasn't any of that. It was like the Wild West. We didn't really even know what settings were, what they were, just playing wizards and whatnot, and imagining whatever. So you can see that in the early notes of Castle Zagyg. You can see that because two of the gates take you to science fiction planets that have nothing to do with fantasy whatsoever. So it's really your ability to shift, to use Castle Zagyg as that vehicle to shift into any kind of genre you want. I think we can't do it, I don't think, because the property's all tied up. But I think it'd be cool to have a Jim Ward's Metamorphosis Alpha, the Starship Warden. You get there from Castle Zagyg. That would just be badass. But that's what the Barashnor is. That it's was very near and dear to Gary. Bill did a great job on it. I'm very happy we can resurrect this thing and finally roll it out. We've got great maps that Peter Bradley will redo for us. And I believe that's our first stretch reward, our next one going forward at 450, I think. Very excited about that.
Let's see what your stretch rewards are right now. 450 announcement tomorrow. I think that was
that on the page. Chuck was supposed to update all that. Oh, that's funny.
Chuck, are you slacking?
Damn, Chuck, come on, man. Chuck's going to be running to his computer in about 2 minutes.
Yeah, right. He's going to be like, refresh.
Yeah. Poor Chuck. It's a lot to keep up with. Yeah, so they were supposed to, I was on the road this morning, but they were supposed to roll out the stretch rewards, and I believe it's 450 is Barashnor and 500 is the Book of Realms, which is going to be kind of 4 introductory adventures that take you to these different realms, and you're going to have to take it from there. I can't remember what the third and fourth one off the top of my head. The Crusader Annual #1, I think, comes in at 600, which is going to be really cool. We resurrected the Crusader Journal a few months ago, sometime last year. We've done 3 issues, I think.
I've got one of them, I think.
I'm very. I love the magazine format, so I'm very excited about their return. They're selling well, so we'll keep doing them. But we're going to do our first annual for the Crusader, and it's going to be all Gygaxian lore. Just all kinds of Gary Gygax stuff, Castle Zagyg stuff. And I believe that's the $600,000 level.
Okay. That's cool. Now, is that going to be print or just PDF, or how is that going to?
So all 3 of those will be print and PDF. So if Chuck can correct me, but I think if you pledge at 144 or 140 or something, you get the print and the PDF. Anything below that, you just get the PDF. So if you're in for the print books, no, that's not right. I'm gonna mess that all up, so I'm gonna stop talking. It's on the webpage.
Well, it will be momentarily because Chuck said that graphic didn't stick. Just a moment.
It is now fixed.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Yeah. So, it's
Just
on the
updated the
webpage.
chat.
Don't quote me to Chuck, Coda, or whoever is going to be fulfilling this.
Let's see if it magically refreshes and if it shows up.
That's so funny.
Look at that! It's there. Huzzah! Yes, it does say the 600,000 Crusader annual one. So is it going to be specific, or is it going to be just certain parts of some of the first issues? Because I know you can like order like the first couple of sets.
Yeah, we've got what are we calling them? The not omnibuses, we call them something, but like you can get the omnibus of issues 1 through 5, then 6 through 10, all the way down to 185, I think. And this one, the annual specifically, the only thing it's taking from the earlier editions, the earlier whatever. Gary wrote a column called "How It All Began," and it for 10 different numbers. Oh man, I can't remember what the periodicals are called. 10 different issues. There you go. The 10 different issues, or 12 or whatever it was. We're going to take those and put it into this annual in one readable thing. And that basically tells the story of how TSR began from Gary Gygax.
Yeah.
Then we're going to do the rest of it. Well, the annual will really just have Gygaxian lore in it. We're going to do someone online, someone on the campaign requested that a stretch reward have kind of the archaeology, the history of Castle Zagyg. So we're going to write a history of the Castle Zagyg. We'll have an interview with Luke Gygax, the art of Castle Zagyg, and just other Gygax stuff. That some stories that Davis and I remember from working with him back in the day. We're just going to make the whole issue kind of centered around Gary Gygax.
That's awesome. I've heard the story of Heidi when she was a little girl, when they were boxing up the wooden boxes.
Yeah.
And apparently they stuck a bee in one or something like that. So somebody had a got one of the original wooden box sets that had and I think it was dead, but
surely it was dead by that point.
but yeah, so I love to hear the history, and that's one of the reasons why I jumped on like the World Builders archive. I want to see that. I'm very much looking forward to that. I'm very much
missed that one, unfortunately. Are there going to be extras of the fancy edition available?
Yeah, for sure. We'll roll those out as soon as we ship them to the backers. We'll add them to the store. Everything that we crowdfund, unless it's like a collector's leather edition, it just becomes part of the store. So you can go up there.
Are there going to be any of the fancy leather ones left over, or no?
We usually print about 5% more just to account for damages. And then once all backers who ordered a leather get one, and then, and everyone's happy and nobody's saying, oh, this got ripped or whatever, then the last 10 or 15 or 20 or whatever it is, we'll put them up for sale. So there's a good chance that there'll definitely will be some,
cool,
for sure.
All right. So Chuck says that is correct. 140 and above comes with both.
Okay. Good.
So
yeah, Chuck and I had a long conversation about that this morning. I was driving and I only remember half of what he said. So.
Well, yeah, you had to drive all the way up to Davis because Davis lives up in the country, right?
He's up in the Ozarks, up in the mountains. And way off the beaten path, which is nice. It's nice and green out here and quiet and all that. So,
speaking of off the beaten path, what's any updates on the building? I know you.
So, yes and no. So we, as you know, we sold the land and we have kind of back to square one to start the whole thing over again. And I found a decent building in Jacksonville, Arkansas. I went to look at last Friday. What did it say? Thursday? Yeah, so last Friday. But the real estate couldn't get the key to open the door, so we couldn't get into the building. And I turned to Kathy and said, "I'm not sure what fates are operating against us, but this is getting put out." They called. They can get in the building now. I'm probably going to go out Monday or Tuesday and have a gander at it. I'm a little bit surprised at how scarce commercial property is. that we can't land into. So, but we're still looking, and I've got 2 real estate agents that are poking around to find us stuff, and nothing has hit yet. But we're getting to. By the time the Gygax, the World Builder Archives come out, we're going to have a serious logistical problem. Now, one of the many reasons to have the building was to give us enough space to manage the volume of books.
Right.
That Kickstarter has 1,500 backers or whatever it is, and each of them, or a good chunk of them, get 10 books. This is not going to be easy to fulfill by any stretch of the imagination. So having enough space to kind of manage that is very important. So Dakota, he runs our mailroom and print shop. He and I are already looking at just different solutions if we haven't landed somewhere that has a good footprint for us. And they do include tents and barbecues and stuff, but we probably won't go that route because it's not good for the books. But he did suggest that pretty heavy. So.
I mean, we all know what it's like to have somebody with Dorito fingers touch your books or Cheeto fingers. I can only imagine barbecue fingers.
That's why I usually get the fancy book for the shelf for me to enjoy and look at, and then the sacrificial one for other people to touch.
Yeah. Speaking of books and having space, I understand. Did Dakota point you towards something to print hats or something?
Yes. So, and I haven't bought it yet. I'll probably buy it in the morning, if not tonight, when I get bored and start wandering around. Davis goes to sleep at like 7, so Davis, it's 8:30. It's amazing he's not asleep already. So I'll just be wandering around with nothing to do. So I'll get on and start working tonight. So I may buy it tonight. Yes, we are going to buy a hat press. The challenging thing, we want to get this set up. The challenging thing is going to be find hats made in America, which we're going to work very hard to find that. But I'm sure they're out there somewhere. We'll find them. But yes, definitely in the very near future.
Because if you can't tell, every time you've seen me, I have a baseball cap on.
Absolutely. And Chuck too used to wear baseball hats quite a bit.
Yeah.
And we're doing these patches, and I'm really jazzed on these patches. We've done 2. Yeah, that one I love the other one, but that was just absolutely fantastic. So start putting these patches on hats would just be cool.
Yeah, I'm actually trying to figure out how.
Yes, it is coming.
It is coming. Okay.
It's
all right.
Coming soon. As soon as we get one, we will send you one.
Okay. Well, I definitely I am a hat guy, so and I've got I got my Castles and Crusades shirt on, of course. I actually need to get. I think I need to get a smaller one. I've been losing weight, so I need some more. And what about somebody mentioned in one of your streams the other day about a pocket? Oh,
pocket.
A pocket T-shirt.
Oh, that has to be
you ever seen T-shirts with a pocket?
Yeah.
No.
That's
I'm with him, man.
Dakota.
Let me tell you.
If we're talking merch and stuff, can I beg and plead for tall sizes in T-shirts, please?
Oh yeah, that's actually a good point.
That would be amazing.
Yes, absolutely. And we don't offer any tall. The irony there is I wear only
no one does.
I'm not even tall shirts.
Well, the T size, any of the T's, if you're the wrong body shape and you don't get a T, then it becomes like a midriff.
Yeah,
If it's up here, it's a midriff down.
So I briefly considered at GaryCon. I'm not sure if any of you guys knew about the thing with Magic the Gathering several years ago, where a guy was at a tournament going around taking selfies with like butt cracks in the background. You could have done the same thing at GaryCon with underbellies that were hanging out.
Yeah, hear you. Clear.
I don't need that in my head.
Well, now it's there forever.
Thanks, Dan.
You're welcome, buddy. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, it was nice knowing you. No. I think somebody even said hoodies. I want a zip up hoodie too, man. Give me a zip up hoodie. I don't even care if it's your favorite color.
What I really want to do is jackets. I think jackets would be cool. I would love to do a whole line of merch. And the irony is, the funny thing is Dakota. So Dakota came on full board about 2 years ago, I think, something like that. And I have never met. He's young. He's what? I think he's 24, 23, 25. And I've never met someone who likes new and shiny things like Dakota does. This guy, he loves anything new. And about every week or every 2 weeks, he'll come wandering in my office and he'll say, "Hey, what about a hoodie? We can do a hoodie." And I think the last thing was the golf shirts, the kind of, you know, that salesman at car places, well, that type of multi
polos. Yeah.
Polos,
yeah. Super jazzed on that. I don't know. I think that if I followed everything Dakota wanted us to do, we would have an apparel shop and kind of.
I tell you though, you know, I like the idea of a pocket tee. I'm a big fan of them. And somebody else mentioned long sleeve, doing some long sleeve variants too for shirts.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
I'm not sure who's talking about all this stuff.
There's a bunch of people. Some of them might be in the chat. Some of them might. Cooperative Waffles wants TLG Letterman jackets.
There.
So
I gotta say, the jackets that we could put those patches on would be cool. Some kind
of a bomber jacket. Give me a bomber jacket.
Oh, there you go.
And stand out.
Flint suggested Troll Lord boxers.
Yeah, I don't know.
We used to sell Troll Lord boxers and thongs. So
there you go.
All right. Let me yank it back here because now I know people are going that way. But you know, it's there's just a lot of stuff that I'd love to see. You know, you guys are great. I know you're a veteran. Davis is a veteran too, as well. And as is Luke, I believe, right? So
Luke retired military. I believe he was a major, maybe a light colonel. I think he's a major.
Yeah, I was not honored enough to be able to serve. Unfortunately, they were shutting the bases down when I tried to go in. But I do have my foster brother. He is a retired master sergeant from the Army. So yeah, and he served over in Germany. He was, you know, the whole 9 yards, and so you know, I have mad respect.
Well, thank you for that. My tour was very funny because Davis was already in the Army, and when the Gulf War broke out, I joined. And then my oldest brother, Zane, joined as well. Now, Zane War, and I wanted to go into jump school. So, and the only way I could get that fast track into jump school was to go to the Signal Corps. So I joined the Signal Corps and then went through basic. And then I did AIT. And I remember of AIT. And they had cut AIT from, which is our advanced infantry training. They cut it from 10 weeks to 4, I want to say, to get us over in Iraq. Well, Week 2, we invade, and the war ends 100 hours later. And so 3 days into week 2, we had a big meeting, and they re-extended us back to 10 weeks. So I do the 10 weeks there, go to jump school, and after jump school, there was 490 something people, I think, that graduated in jump school from my class. 2 of us were sent to Hawaii. And I was one of them. And I go to Hawaii, and there was no orders for me. So I sat in Hawaii for like 5 weeks with literally nothing to do. I just spent 5 weeks on the beach until I got finally assigned to a unit. And I spent the next two and a half years just living in Hawaii. So it was a pretty good tour. Zane and Dave were over in Germany in the snow and the ice. I'm on the beach. It's all right.
Yeah. And you guys give a pretty decent discount to vets, right?
We do. Anyone in any branch, all 6 of them now, Space Force gets a 50% discount. So if you are a veteran out there, just shoot us an email, productsupport@troller.com. It really, that began in the second Gulf War. And when we went to Afghanistan, it was, you know, there were pretty tense times after 9/11, and we felt like it was the least that we could do. We used to send, if you were in theater, we still do this, though we just don't have many troops overseas at the moment. I guess the Navy now in Iran, but if you're in theater, we would send books for free. You know, we'll just give us your unit library. We'll send them to you. And then afterwards, 50% off. And the Guard and Reserves count as that as well. So we've got quite a few programs. We try to do what we can for veterans, which isn't much, but that's, you know, helps a little. And then we've got a school outreach program that Chuck put together, where any of your school clubs or library clubs, if you give us a shout, we'll send you a bunch of free books to get you guys to get folks playing. So
Yeah, and that extends. You've extended that, I believe, to Canadian as well.
we have to Canadian and NATO allies as well.
Okay.
We've done it to. We've sent some to Italy, France, and the UK, I think, and Canadian. Yeah, our brothers across the line there.
Well, we got, we have somebody representing the group. I don't know if Dean served. I don't.
No, I didn't. I did look at it when I was younger, but it never quite took me. And yeah. But I too have mad respect for the people who do serve, and I thank them for their service. It's
yep, same.
We actually interviewed someone who wrote a Vietnam game using second edition rules, Ghost of Vietnam. And you know what? It was incredible. The care, the attention, the detail. It wasn't all about the gore. It was about taking you mentally to that place and putting you through a tour. And I thought that was fantastic. So yeah.
That's very cool.
So 27 levels. You've got just over 2 weeks left.
Yeah, I think we're about
15 days.
Yeah, 15 days. We are. Yeah, she's done very, very well, and we've got a lot more content as we can see in the stretch rewards rolling out, which I'm confident that we can reach. I would love to see this thing exceed the first act, which did I think 600,000, and we're well on way to doing that. So yeah, I'm extremely excited about it. I know Luke is too. That's why he wanted to be on the show tonight. He actually played in Castle Zagyg. I never did, but Luke did back in the 70s when he was 8, 9, and 10 years old, which is very, very cool. But yeah, 27 levels of just absolute madness.
It says 14 days, 19 hours, 17 minutes. So we're under 15.
But who's counting?
But who's counting, right?
Who's counting?
Well, the clock right there on the screen. And let's see. Well, that's the whole. I think that's the whole mega dungeon. How'd you guys get pulled into the mega dungeon thing?
So we started working with. We returned to Gen Con. What, 2 years ago? Maybe 3, 2.5 years. And Joe Goodman, who is an absolutely great, long time friend of mine, and of course Goodman Games and Troller have been doing stuff together forever. I had dinner with him one night at Gen Con, and at Gen Con was Martin from Backer Kit. So we all sat down, there's a couple of the guys there. We sat down and began talking about the whole thing. And Martin, was like, hey, you need to come over to Backer Kit and start running your campaigns, leave Kickstarter. And Martin, he's a super great guy, and he had me just in stitches. So I'm like, yeah, sure, I'll do this. you're just cool to hang out with. And Joe had been doing, I think Joe had already done like 15 or 20 campaigns over there. He'd been with Backer Kit for a while. And he was like, yeah, you got to go over here. So we started working with the Backer Kit with, which one did we do? For whatever one. It might have been the Gygax stuff. I'm not sure, whichever one. We did
World Builders might might be.
It might be Zagyg campaign A, and it did so well, and the people at Backer Kit was so ridiculously helpful, which they continue to be. I mean, they're just really, I can't say enough good about these people. And Lafayette is great. Everyone's fantastic over there. Responsive is just, I mean, it's great, and nothing but great. So last Gen Con, a whole bunch of us were at dinner, and Joe, I don't know whose idea this was. I don't know if it was Joe Goodman's or if it was Martin's. They pitched this idea to me and Co-op Press and a couple of the other companies. And look, man, Joe wants me to get on board. Sure, Joe. We've been doing stuff together. If you want me to come on, I'm on. So on Joe's recommendation and Martin's, we joined the Mega Dungeon. And it's been great. I mean, it's cool being part of this community that's just kind of propelling all of this stuff forward.
Yeah. It looks like it was Act 1, if you would call it that. I guess that's what is that the official title now? Act 1.
Believe that. Castle Zagyg 2. Galleries of the Mesa.
Yeah, it says Galleries of the Archmage.
There you go. I was close, almost.
That was March in 2025. So that's really
just over a year.
Just over a year. So we're not not too bad. I know there was there was a lot of things that that came out and that got kind of backed up. There's a project I'm waiting on with I don't know if you know the GUI guys. You probably do.
Yes, I do.
Yeah,
Great people.
yeah. Luke. I actually have them coming on here on I think May 3rd. So I'm gonna have Alphinius and Camera Mandy are gonna be on the show. So I'm looking forward to having them on too. My wife, we sit there and we'll watch the different streams and we'll try and catch them live if we can. And of course they do like a Saturday at noon type of thing. And I was watching it on there and she's like, I like him. I want to see. So I'm like, all right, well, let me reach out and see if they'll respond, and they did, but of course, GaryCon was in between, right? So,
Right. Yep.
So yeah, all y'all were up there. I need to go up to GaryCon. I need to go.
You do. Yeah. You do. GaryCon was fun.
Yeah.
And it's only like 50 minutes away from my house, which is awesome.
That makes it even better.
See, yeah. So
yeah, I'm like just under an hour south of Lake Geneva. It's pretty great.
You got a big basement, don't you, Dan?
Yes, yes.
If we bring sleeping bags,
you can also sleep on the couch, but yeah, you can come hang out. That's fine. I even got this thing called a guest bedroom if one of you wants to be fancy.
Ooh, fancy.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm British, so I'm really fancy. Yeah.
So,
you might get a bunch of trolls living in your.
That's fine.
Yes.
I would totally be down with that. That'd be fun.
Yes.
All right. Well, Dean and Dan, do you guys have any other questions or the chat? Anybody in the questions got?
Yeah. Can I? Because we're talking mega dungeons here, and the one thing I loved when I was looking through the backer kit, you got Peter Bradley doing the maps, and you had a sort of the Cellar level 2 on there as an example, and personally, I love that style of maps. I think it leaves so much more to the imagination. I'm just checking. Are all the maps going to be that kind of style, or have you got plans to do something more detailed? What kind of designs have you got around the maps?
So they're going to be all in that. Rough down a level. Get up the castle in a day or so. I'll put that up on the website so everyone can see it, because that'll be kind of the final product. The way he's done the castle is absolutely brilliant. It looks fantastic. It's got a little bit of detail, a little bit more than the dungeon maps, but we're not really going to put a ton of detail in there. We want to really, like you said just a second ago, we want to leave it to the imagination of the, everybody who's doing it. That and the sheer more volume of work that would add to this project by detailing out. I think it's over 2,000 rooms. It's so many rooms that it would slow the thing down. And we don't want to do that.
Yeah, fantastic. And the castle keeper can then fill it with the stuff that they want to suit their style of play.
Right.
Yes, and that's how I play. It's clearly how you play. I mean, I like to, and if you second round, you want to be able to shake it up and not have anything that's the same. So. I like the maps, clean. And Peter does this really good. I don't know. It's a really clean style. Probably my only complaint on Peter. So we have our own print up and a lot of our printing, and he'll do the dungeon halls and rooms, but everything on the outside is a solid black, and it cuts through our toner so fast. We got a huge industrial printer and all of the black paper. Yeah. I keep saying, go gray, do something a little different to save us some. He doesn't listen to me. So.
Yeah. Well, Chuck thinks your internet's dying on us. I know you. I don't know if it's getting a little late on your side. If you need to start wrapping up here.
I'd love to talk, but since we switched to my phone. It was at 77 and now it's at 16, and it seems to be falling faster than it was earlier. So I'm not sure it's happening to my battery. But
it does that. Yeah. I kind of figured. Somebody they asked Chuck if the side view maps are included. That was cooperative.
Like the isometric ones.
Yeah, those are kind of hard. Those are hard to use sometimes, aren't they?
Yeah, they're like they're cool for visualization, but they're hard to use at the table. Be like, hey, look how cool this is. All right, moving on.
Yeah, the side maps are good.
I think the coolest. We are going to do one cutaway. We're going to Ben from Memorial Tomb. He's Benoit's going to come over and help us with the cutaway because he's beautiful. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the Memorial Tomb, but Ernie Gygax and his last name's escaping me, Benoit, did this ridiculously fantastic, huge setting dungeon thing, and in it are 2 cutaways that show you the levels of stuff, and I think that's just very cool. So once we've figured out where Gary wants each of the 27 levels, we're going to send that over to Ben, and he's offered to do this cutaway for us. So it'll be very, very cool.
That's cool.
Yeah. Chuck's saying that you're considering isometrics because he's been asking, I guess. So
They are cool.
they are cool. I mean,
They're very cool.
I don't find them practical though when you're running a game. They're great
Not
to put
for
in front
actually
of a
running,
player.
but they're
But
great
that's
to
it.
look at and kind of like inspire the imagination and everything though.
yeah.
And we did
Well,
one set for the Amazing Adventures Innsmeet, Albert Inn and Tavern, and it's some of the coolest stuff. But it's not very practical to run it.
yeah. All right. So right now you're sitting at 406,805 with 2,004 backers. So
Absolutely.
you need to, yeah, it's been great, and you still got 2 weeks left to go. You're always constantly on the backer train, and I appreciate you showing up. I know.
Hey, sorry about that, and thank you for having me on. I mean, as soon as Chuck texted and said, "Hey, dude," I was like, shit, and I ran across the yard to get over here. So I appreciate the patience, and my apologies for. But in my defense, it was my niece made a really good steak. So,
yeah, I'll let you slide.
Yeah.
I'm sure. And you should have seen the comments in the chat before you popped up. Imagine that, Steve late for a stream. So, with that, I'm going to go ahead and say anything else you'd like to say real quick before I roll the credits.
2 things real quick. All the team working on Castle Zagyg, from Grace and the marketing and Jeremy all the way down to the writing and Mike Stewart, everybody. Chase, you guys are doing a fantastic job. Thank you for that. And if you are out there and you haven't backed it, please, the QR code's right there. Go over there, check the campaign out. Even if you don't back it, give us a shout somewhere so other people become aware. It is Gary Gygax at his best.
Yeah, and I'm looking so forward to seeing the first part. And you can, if you missed out on the first one, you can add on, right?
Yep, you can build it with all the stuff that was from the previous one. So you
can get all five of it, all 5 volumes.
Yep.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Stephen, for coming on. I appreciate you you coming on and switching over to your phone, and hopefully we'll get you on again here. Hopefully not so long before the next time.
Hey, yeah, just give us a shout. I remember I was on here a year or so ago. Get me on again. I love it. I love talking to you guys. It's fantastic. And I'll be planning a little better, and I'll be in my office where the stuff works. So
yeah, well, I know it's kind of hard because you want to promote the Kickstarter, but but at the same time, you've got 1,600 things going on all at the same time.
It's a lot, but it's fun. It's a good thing.
Yeah. All right, guys. With that, I'm gonna go say goodnight to everybody. If you don't mind sticking around just for a minute after the credits roll, we'll wrap up and we'll have a brief chat. And with that, everybody, thanks for showing up, and we made it happen. So have a good one. Trolls, everybody.
Thanks again for having me on. Trolls.